-5 minutes and 40 seconds to liftoff. All systems are currently go for an on-time liftoff at Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center. And the moon was looking great, but we were waiting for a call out for the strong back retraction coming up here shortly. What's going to happen is the clamp arms around the top of the second stage, which is just below the fairing, will begin to open up. Once those clamp arms open up, then we'll begin to move the strong back away, slightly away from the vehicle. And that process will take about 20 seconds. Vehicle, the TE or transporter erector will be just about a couple degrees away from the vehicle. And then at T0, we'll move it about 45 degrees above the pad deck.
Pressing for strong back retract.
And that will make the way for liftoff for Falcon 9. And we did hear that call out that we are preparing for strong back retraction. That should be coming up here in about 20 seconds. Now the strong back is that vertical structure just behind the vehicle that you see there on your screen.
Strong back lower has started.
And there's that call out that the strong back retraction has begun. Now, again, what you're going to see is those clamp arms just below the fairing are going to begin to open up. And once they're fully open, that'll make way for the transporter erector to move away from the vehicle. Now the TE, or the transporter erector, is carrying the propellant, electrical, and gas lines to stage 2, as well as the payload. And there you can see on your screen that those clamp arms are now opening up. And this is a good view here because you'll be able to see that TE start to move away from the vehicle. It's pretty slow, but you should be able to see it here in a few seconds. And there you can see that TE starting to move away from the vehicle. And once Falcon 9 commands for liftoff, hydraulic cylinders pull the strong back even further away, again to that position about 45 degrees above the pad deck. Now we are coming up on liquid oxygen loading completion at the T-3 minute mark. Now, for some reason,
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
There's that call out we were waiting for. Stage one liquid oxygen loading is now complete. If for some reason we do not launch today, we do have a backup opportunity tomorrow, January 15th at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. Currently, weather is green and the range is ready to support a T0 of 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. And the landers continue to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the vehicle. Next coming up will be at T-2 minutes. We should hear the call out for propellant loading.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Right on time. That is stage 2 LOX load complete. That means propellant loading is now fully complete on Falcon 9. The vehicle is now fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. And just a correction, it is 1:11 a.m. Eastern Time for liftoff tonight.
Gas launch closeouts has started.
Now that the propellant loading is complete, we should begin to see venting coming from the transporter erector. That is just clearing out those propellant lines from the TE in preparation for liftoff.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Good call out. This means that the Falcon vehicle's internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. We're now just waiting for the final go from the launch director.
LD, go for launch.
And great news. We are go for launch, so let's watch as Falcon 9 takes our 2 lunar payloads out to space.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Firefly, go ispace, go Falcon. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
T plus 30 seconds into launch, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center. Now the vehicle is going vertically, but it will begin to move horizontally. We're going to gimbal
Falcon
those.
9 power and telemetry are nominal.
We're going to gimbal those engines. We're still going up, but now
Engineer pressure is nominal. Vehicle is supersonic.
We'll be moving horizontally, and that helps the vehicle get into orbit and avoid being pulled back down to Earth. Now we are coming up on max Q. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see during ascent.
Max Q.
There's that call out. We've passed through max Q. And we do have a few events coming up in quick succession. That'll be MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. MECO is main engine cutoff, and that's where we will shut down all 9 of those M1D engines that you see there burning bright on your screen. That prepares the vehicle for stage separation. That's when the first and second stages separate from each other, and the first stage will begin to make its way back down to Earth, while the second stage carries the payloads and continues with its journey with SES-1, or second stage. This means that the Falcon vertically, but it will begin to move horizontally. We're going to gimbal
Falcon
those.
9 power and telemetry are nominal.
We're going to gimbal those engines. We're still going up, but now
Engineer pressure is nominal. Vehicle is supersonic.
We'll be moving horizontally, and that helps the vehicle get into orbit and avoid being pulled back down to Earth. Now we are coming up on max Q. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see during ascent.
Max Q.
There's that call out. We've passed through max Q. And we do have a few events coming up in quick succession. That'll be MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. MECO is main engine cutoff, and that's where we will shut down all 9 of those M1D engines that you see there burning bright on your screen. That prepares the vehicle for stage separation. That's when the first and second stages separate from each other, and the first stage will begin to make its way back down to Earth, while the second stage carries the payloads and continues with its journey with SES-1, or second stage engine start 1. And that's where we will ignite the embark engine on the second stage, and shortly afterwards we will have SECO, where the vehicle will coast. So we are coming up on those 3 events that I just mentioned: MECO, stage separation, and SES-1 in just about 20 seconds from now. Some really cool tracking views here of Falcon 9 and those 9 Merlin M1D engines burning bright there.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
Embark ignition.
great views. We watched as we shut down those 9 Merlin M1D engines, stage separation, and now you can see there on your screen that MVAC engine has ignited, again carrying the 2 lunar landers aboard Falcon 9's second stage. And there on your left-hand screen, you can see that the first stage is deploying its grid fins. Those hypersonic grid fins will help guide the vehicle back down to Earth. And in about 15 seconds or so, we will also have fairing deploy. We have the fairing protecting the payloads through ascent. But once we're in the vacuum of space, we no longer need that protection, so we will jettison those fairing halves.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And a really cool view of the payloads encapsulated in those fairing halves, the fairing halves deploying. We will once again attempt to retrieve these fairing halves once they make their way back down to Earth. And in a few minutes, we will also have a couple more burns for our first stage to prepare it for landing on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Now we are T plus 4 minutes and 10 seconds into today's mission. We're currently in the first of 3 planned MVAC burns. Around T plus 6 minutes, you should see on your screen the first stage's entry burn. Now that entry burn is where we ignite 3 of the Merlin M1D engines, and that's going to be the E9 engine plus the E1 and E5 engines. Now that helps slow the vehicle down as it's re-entering back into the Earth's atmosphere. Now the reason why we slow down the vehicle is to reduce the re-entry forces, which helps us recover and reuse the first stage booster. So far, everything is looking nominal. Stage 2 still carrying our lunar payload and on a nominal trajectory. Now again, the first stage vehicle is making its way back down to Earth. We're about 45 seconds away from the entry burn beginning. And just as a reminder, the first stage booster that is supporting today's mission will perform this entry burn for the 5th time. Falcon 9 is the world's first orbital class rocket, reusable rocket, and this is important because reusability allows SpaceX to refly the most expensive parts of the rocket, which in turn drives down the cost of space access. So we do have that entry burn coming up just about 10 seconds. Again, that will be 3 engines reigniting for just about 20 seconds or so.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
There's that call out, and on your left-hand screen, you can see that those engines have ignited. Again, helping to slow down the Falcon 9 booster as it's making its way back down to Earth.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And there we heard the call out as well. As you can see that the engines have shut down. That concludes the entry burn for the Falcon booster. Coming up next in about 1 minute will be SECO. That is second stage engine cutoff. And that'll basically be where we shut down that MVAC engine and allow the second stage to coast with the payloads.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
As the vehicle is making its way towards its targeted drop-off orbit for each of the lunar landers. And just shortly after we have SECO, we'll also have the landing burn startup on the booster. So we will have a couple events happening back to back.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 transonic.
For the landing burn, we reignite the center E9 engine. And again, that slows the vehicle down just in time to touch down for landing. And we have SECO 1 coming up, as well as a landing burn in just a few seconds.
SECO.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Full view of first stage, touching down for landing.
Landing leg deployed. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there you could see on your screen, the Falcon has landed on Just Read the Instructions. That marks SpaceX's 398th recovery of an orbital class rocket, and that includes first stage landings for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Now we're just waiting for confirmation of good orbit. Again, we have had SECO, that is second engine cutoff 1 for that MVAC engine. And we are just waiting to confirm good orbital insertion.